Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the On Soccer podcast. We have a really exciting guest today that been really looking forward to interviewing. If you guys saw our interview with Sam's Army from Instagram from last season, he hyped this guy up as the funniest interview he's ever done. So you're in for a really good one. Played for Columbus Crew, Real Salt Lake, my favorite Atlanta United, obviously, Orlando as well, which I don't really want to talk about, but we'll say it regardless. And as well, he has some experience with the Iraq national team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Justin Meram. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. I don't know about the funniest interview. I must have paid Sam to say that, but definitely was an interesting one. So
Absolutely, man. And for those of you who haven't listened, definitely check that one out. I think it's like season 2, episode 30 from Sam's Army's podcast. But yeah, really appreciate you making the time here. Definitely we have a lot to get through, but usually just to start off our podcast, I like to sort of ask our guests about their soccer origin story. So I know you grew up in Michigan. I feel like there's like an underrated soccer culture here, like teams like Western Michigan, Michigan State, even U of M once in a while make good runs in like the College Cup and whatnot. So what was it like growing up in Michigan, being interested in soccer? Was there like a big community here, and who'd you look up to growing up?
yeah. That's a pretty heavy loaded question. I have two older brothers. So the youngest of four, looked up to my brothers. Really just playing soccer in the backyard. My dad, at some point made a soccer goal in the backyard made out of PVC pipe. My family's in construction, so they're all very handy, very opposite of myself. But I just grew up playing the game, following my brothers, and we owned a soccer dome way back in the day, Shelby Soccer City, and I kind of just always lived there and was training, and any team that needed an extra player, I was playing, and just constantly had the ball around my feet. And my uncle Tony, trained me as I got a little bit older, and I just fell in love with the game. And you know, it wasn't an easy journey, as I'm sure you've read. So I can't say the whole soccer life was fun and perfect, and getting a scholarship right out of high school, none of that stuff happened. So it was just me enjoying the game, and I didn't know where it would take me, really.
Yeah, no, definitely makes a lot of sense, and it's sort of cool to hear like sort of the backstory of how that originated. Did you have like certain like teams or like players that you really look up to while you were young? Like, what was your like? Did you support anyone or anything?
To be honest, CR7, kind of wherever he went, is where
Same
I
here.
followed. And my eyes were glued to TV with Manchester United then, and Madrid, and Juve. It's kind of wherever he's gone, it's kind of been the team that I followed and supported. And just to see his work ethic and mindset, and his ability to play for different clubs and different leagues, and to be that dominant, was something I admired, and caught my attention for sure when he was at Man U.
Definitely, yeah. No, I agree. I'm like there's like 2 or 3 Ronaldo posters in my room. My dad always makes fun of me, but I really used to follow him around wherever he went when I was younger. So it's funny to hear from you as well. And then,
Right.
yeah, we can just jump right into like how you started and sort of like when this soccer thing really took off. So I know that before, obviously you were at the University of Michigan for your I think it was your senior year of college. You were there, right? Or
2 years, junior and
two
senior.
years? Okay, right, got it. And then before that, I know you were at Yabapai.
Yep.
That's just like JUCO. What was like the sort of transition like from playing soccer there to actually getting scouted by like a D1 Big Ten school? Like, was that something that was surprising to you? Did you expect that? Like, what was the journey in terms of that transition like?
Well, I mean, I take it a step back. Out of high school, there was no offers, and a real thought process that I would play at the collegiate level. So my father, you know, moved the family to Arizona for work,
Right.
and one of those things that I had to move to Arizona with my family, and I was most likely going to go to Arizona State, bio major, pre-dental. That was the focus, for my path out after college. Um, and I was just playing in a training in a men's open league training with my
Wow.
brothers. My brother's 4 years older, and the other one is 9 years older than me. So they're playing pickup. They still play the game. And I just went to the training and was just balling a little bit on this, park field in Scottsdale, Arizona. And An alumni of Yavapai College, Maurice Hughes, kind of was there, and saw my talent and ability, and asked where I would play soccer in college. And I just let him know that yeah, I really didn't have anything, and Arizona State was probably where I was going to go to school. And so he reached out to Mike Pantaleone and Hugh Bell, head coach and assistant coach, and they kind of took the word of an alumni. And there was a player that went back to England, so it opened up a roster spot.
Wow.
And yeah, I walked on and essentially broke multiple records and started every game there in 2 years, and back-to-back national championships and National Player of the Year, and inducted into the NJCAA Hall of Fame. So from nothing to something, and then eventually that led me to a full ride to the greatest school in the world.
Absolutely, man. No, that like transition, I feel like just from like, this like having no offers at a high school to sort of just like, really becoming the best at what you do in like the division you were is like, that's just a crazy transition. I mean, like it must have been just like mentally like wild to be in that state. So I guess, you obviously succeed at Yavapai, the offers coming in. I know before you went to U of M, I think you had committed to OSU and maybe you had like a couple other offers. I'm not sure about that. I'm just wondering, I thought it was funny. Like, did you like the OSU coaches, did you like end up telling them that you were going to Michigan instead? Like, did they find out? Like, what was sort of like the whole deal with that?
Yeah, so the brother above me went to Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
The brother above him went to Ohio State. The brother above my oldest brother went to Wayne State. So everybody went to different schools. Being the
Right.
young. Michigan State was like a 40% offer. OSU was 80%. U of M was 80%.
Mm.
I kind of want to come back to the Midwest. I had offers from all over: UC Irvine, University of San Diego, Illinois, Chicago, New Mexico. Like there were so many, but I wanted
Right.
to be part of the Big Ten, and growing up here. So Michigan couldn't really move their offer. Ohio State couldn't move it. So I grew up idolizing Ohio State in some sense because of my brother
Right.
that went there. And so I took my visit to Michigan. My uncle Tony, who I mentioned earlier, that trained me. My family's in Arizona, so he came with me to the visit to speak with
Mm.
Coach Steve Burns.
Right.
And they're like, "Look, 80% is all we have," and financially, I couldn't pay, or my family couldn't pay for this. 20% being an out-of-state student. It was like 50,000 a year for academics. Um, so for me, it was like, okay, well, that 20%, 2 years, that was a little bit. That was, I mean, not compared to what people pay for tuition themselves, but
Right.
uh, financially, it was just not something that we could do at the time. And we kind of told them 100%, and we'll do it here. And they kind of were back and forth. So I kind of committed Ohio State.
Mhm.
um that's where I was going to go. And then Steve Burns was like 100%, we'll give you a full ride now if you come to us and commit
Oh,
now. And
that's sick.
so when they made that commitment, I knew they were real, and I knew they were all about me and going to do everything possible to make sure I'm the best soccer player on that campus. So that was the best decision I made.
That's so awesome to hear. Yeah, really cool to hear the behind the scenes of that. And then, I was sort of like I was watching like the highlights of like, your time at Michigan and just like the front three you guys had when you were here. And like, oh my God, like some of these goals that like you guys were involved in were just like, straight out of like a highlight reel, like Sports Center top 10. Like seemed like a really cool time to be on the pitch then. So I've been to like a couple Michigan soccer games recently, like, the crowd's like decent and whatnot. What was like the atmosphere like around then? Did like people know that, that some of you guys would go professional? Like, did you have this like vision that you'd be professional? Was there like a lot of hype on campus, or what was your experience just, playing here?
Well, the new stadium was built. There was starting to be hype. We were really good.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
probably the best men's team probably ever. Um, so there was that hype, and
Yeah.
doing well. And a few games, OSU, Notre Dame, at our stadium, sold out. A lot of games
Wow.
were, the NCAA tournament against the University of Central Florida, UCF, you know, I think Hamoudi Saad scored like an overtime left footer from like 30 out. Fans
Mhm.
rushed the field. Someone stole my jersey that day.
No way.
So
You ever get it
some
back?
crazy. Yeah, no, I never got it back. I don't know who's
It's tough.
someone listening still got the white number 9 Meram jersey. Um,
Maybe on eBay by now, honestly, man.
I swear. No, so there was a lot of buzz. Obviously, we made it far. Won the Big Ten tournament. You
Right.
know, went to the Final Four, which we had the lead a minute and 2 seconds into that game. A great run, a great team, and that's what essentially got me to be top 20 draft pick.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, that's very definitely very cool to hear. And for those of you who haven't seen that are listening, you guys need to look up Justin Meram's highlights when he was playing for Michigan, and not even just him, just that front three we had and that whole squad we had. Some insane goals. So I'd recommend that. But not really soccer related, but I guess like off the pitch, what was your life like at Michigan? Like if like what was your like ideal weekend like? Like what kind of like bars or restaurants you like what was your life like here?
During football
I mean, I guess like
interaction,
either.
yeah, there was a moment. Obviously, I was with the Michigan football team, so I was kind of going both trainings.
Right,
So I suited up for the first game against UConn. Running out of that tunnel, hitting the banner. Some real surreal moments, but um, eventually, the schedules were going to collide, both being in the fall sports.
right.
So, I had my meeting with Rich Rod, and I told him I was going to, be soccer first, and
Yep.
he couldn't commit that full ride for football being an upper hand sport in Michigan. So I couldn't play both unless I accepted the football scholarship, and then I would have to give up my soccer scholarship. So
Right.
that was a very tough and difficult decision, but was the best for me. I wish I could have done both. That would have been
Yeah.
super cool. Um, but out after that, football little moment I had for while I was at Michigan, and once I focused on soccer, it was just look, I was a bio major, a lot of
Okay.
school,
Yeah, that's a lot
um,
of work.
partying at Rick's after a victory here and
I'll be there
there.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, backdoor pizza. I don't know if that's still
Oh
around.
my God. Literally every night after Rick's, there's a
Yep.
line there every night.
Yep. So I used to know the guy. I kind of tipped him early, so get to skip the line a little bit.
Ah, nice.
It was one of my smarter moves in college because
Well done. Yeah.
line would get real long, and he knew I would just go around the corner and give me 2 slices, and I think throw him $5. I don't even know what a slice is nowadays.
Oh my
Uh,
God. Don't get me started.
what is it? Do you even know? It was like a
At
dollar.
back room.
I think it was $1
Um.
for cheese, $1.25 pepperoni.
Oh, definitely not $1. I want to say it's closer to five now. I could
What?
be wrong about that. It's definitely like I feel like it's $3 to $5 somewhere in that range for a slice.
Oh my
Like
god.
definitely not $1.
Yeah, we were dollar cheese, $1.25 pepperoni.
Oh man, love that.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
well,
Nice.
that
Oh,
was
where
what,
else?
14 years ago? Yeah, 13. Yeah.
Yeah, a while ago now. Doesn't seem like it, but yeah. I guess like other than the Ricks, where else did you end up on campus? You go to like Skeeps and stuff like that, or what was your like
It
move
was
usually?
Tuesday, I believe, if my memory's correct. Isn't that like Greek life or Greek night?
Skeeps.
Skeeps.
Wait, sorry, say that again. Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
Skeeps. Tuesday
I
night,
guess.
Tuesday
Okay.
or Thursday. I think Friday was like the only night we never did anything, I feel like.
It's the same with us. Yeah, we go on like Thursdays and Saturdays usually, but like
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
still
know.
the
Yeah,
same.
yeah,
Something about Friday.
exactly. Something about
It's
it.
so weird because like in real
Who
and
decided that?
like
Like, I don't know why. Like,
but I swear it's like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It's like every other day.
right.
But what else? What else did I really? I don't know. That was kind of it.
Fair. I
Obviously
got you. I got
soccer
you.
takes a lot out of you. You're training weight room.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I totally understand. And then, before we transition away from Michigan and stuff about like life here, I know that you obviously like were at one point considering kicking for the football team. You mentioned how you like met with Rich Rod, decided it wouldn't work out, stuff like that. I'm wondering if you have any like cool stories with interactions for like people you like met while on the football team. Like I know that Denard Robinson was here at the time when you were there. Like, was there any cool like
Uh,
sort of experiences you had in that?
yeah, Tate Forcier would message me. I was a
Nice.
character then. I'm a character now in the locker room. So, these
Love
guys
that.
love me. And kind of once I solidified my spot as the, starting kicker when I won the job kind of in the spring game. These guys kind of really took me serious and knew I had the talent. And that's when, me and Denard had great interactions. My family was there for the spring game, and, he was
Nice.
with my family. Tate would, message me here and there to party and hang out, and he was a funny guy. But if there was Mike Cox was, running back at Michigan. There's still a few guys at Elliot Mueller. There's a few guys that you still see around or touch base on, Instagram.
Right.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is someone like I
Yep.
obviously can't
DPJ.
play
Yeah.
with him, but we messaged back and forth on Instagram. He wore the 9 at Michigan. Obviously 9 was my number, and
Yep.
cool dude. So just connected with few people from football team, but amazing memories. It's just funny because I tell the story all the time. Football is cutthroat, and in Glick Arena, where the head coach's office, it kind of has a balcony, overlooks the field. And after my meeting, it's a large facility. It took me a few minutes to go back to my locker, gather my stuffs, and by the time I told Rich Rod that I've decided to only play soccer, he made that call to those equipment guys, and my whole locker was cleared out, name tag, helmet, everything gone. Only my
They wasted
personal
no time.
were in a black bag sitting there, which is kind of disheartening. But
I feel
Michigan football still showed me love when they went to Jordan. They reached out, sent me
awesome.
a jersey, Jordan jersey, football
Oh, that's
jersey.
sick.
I'm part of that history, and then
Yep.
did suit up for a game. I still have the memories, and it's something that I really cherish, even though it was short lived. But it's still great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm wondering, now that you bring it up, like how would you compare the football locker room to the soccer locker room? Like, is it a lot different?
It's just there's just so many players that
Right. Yeah.
for me, yeah, I always just had a hard time knowing so many guys and faces and names. But and with soccer, you're 25 to 30, and you
Right.
kind of all know each other. When you're a kicker, you're only as important as that moment when you hit the game-winning field goal. They kind of are like whatever with you. And football and training, there's at the time when I was there, it was set up like 20 periods of 5 minutes, and kickers and punters and special teams, we were only part of 3 periods out of the 20. So we were kind of just hanging out, watching and eating rocket popsicles or whatever those things are, during the
No,
summer
I know
months.
you're talking about. That's a
Yeah, so
classic.
that was cool, man. I really
Oh my
enjoyed it.
God. I love it. I love it. Well, I really could spend this entire podcast talking about, as you said, the greatest school in the
Yeah,
world, but
one other funny moment I remember is,
oh, go
when
ahead. Yeah.
we'd be kicking, junior kicker would have the juniors. If we'd miss, all the juniors would have to do bear crawls. Senior kicker with the
Right.
seniors. Yeah. So I was a senior at the time, and Rich Rod's I forgot the guy's name, but he would just drive a golf cart. When it was my time, Rich Rod would be blowing a whistle right in your face, and they'd throw water at you to try and mess you up. And they'd always put the ole, 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 like
Oh my
black
God.
speakers when I was kicking. And
That's
lucky
hysterical.
enough, seniors, they didn't do one bear claw because I didn't miss. I was locked in.
Whew, okay.
So they loved me.
That's
That
awesome.
practice, I was locked in, and I was definitely confident.
That's funny. Oh my God. Yeah, that's like so much different than like a soccer training drill, I feel like. So
Oh
definitely very
yeah.
interesting to hear the comparison for sure. That's funny. But yeah, no, I mean we talked about sort of your college career. Watch those highlights again. I'm reminding you if you still haven't seen it and you're watching this. But your season ends, one of the greatest college men's teams ever. I'm assuming just at some point into the season you realized that going professional was a real possibility that you'd be able to achieve. So that definitely must have been exciting. I guess that just simply put, the transition from college soccer to MLS. First off, what were the emotions on draft day like? Like, did you expect to be picked as high as you were? Like, what was your sort of expectations going into everything, and what was the reaction like from you?
Yeah, I didn't really know where I was gonna go in the draft. I had an okay combine.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously, you know, I didn't really know I would be a professional. My transition from Yavapai to Michigan my junior year wasn't great
Right.
during the summer months. The PDL teams, Michigan Bucks and
Yep.
Kalamazoo, they both cut me and didn't want me. So, um, I really, dedicated going into my senior year, 2010, the summer of 2010, with the strength coach from the football team, Dennis Murray. We decided to just stay on campus, take summer classes, and just train and get fit and strong
Yeah.
and get everything I got. So I really dedicated that summer, and going into my senior year, I didn't start off hot either. But Dennis and my coaches and Paul Snape and Adam Brew and Chris Grassi and Steve Burns, they just kept with it and with me. And I think it was like the last few games of the regular season, the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament, I scored in every single game.
Wow.
So, you know, so it was like I ended up with 17 or 19 goals my senior year, but I only had maybe like five going into like the last 4 or 5 games of the regular season.
I see. I see.
So I wasn't really like a top prospect the whole year and really know it was like towards the end, it was like I just tore it up. And Big
I
Ten
see. I see.
tournament, I scored against Michigan State in the quarters, then got a red card for my celebration. That
Yeah,
wasn't
I remember seeing that.
And then Suni and his brother Hamoudi had a nice combination against Wisconsin in the semis to score. And then I got to play in the finals, which I scored 2 goals. So that was 3 goals right there. And then I
Yeah.
scored like 5 goals or 6 goals in the NCAA tournament. So that's like nine
Ah,
9 goals right there just in Big Ten and NCAA tournament. And then so yeah, I
yeah.
must have had only like 9 goals in the regular season. So
I see what you're saying.
so it kind of progressed, and then scoring, a minute into the semifinals in College Cup.
Yep.
I think that was probably the icing on the cake for me to get drafted. So, um, to your question, sorry, it was such a long,
You're fine.
response, but I didn't really know till kind of. I think I started to catch wind in the College Cup when I scored and kind of
Okay.
had a fantastic game against Akron. And that kind of was like, all right, there's something that could come from this.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's just like, your story is absolutely crazy about like how it even happened and how this manifested in itself. So definitely interesting to hear about your perspective on everything and how that went. You sort of brought up in your answer your time at the Michigan Bucks and PDL and things like that. I know in today's day and age we have things like MLS Next and there's like tiers in USL now. There's like a whole like developmental system. When you were going professional and getting ready for the draft and stuff like that, I think it was like mostly through like college soccer and academies, so how people got their opportunities. I guess
No
like, or was it
academies.
not? Oh, no academies. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I guess like college soccer was the main route then. So, in terms of like right now versus then, how would you sort of compare the developmental route? Like, how do you think that's changed? Has that like improved in your opinion, or in terms of your experience, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it definitely has improved. Obviously, now you have or I think every MLS team has an academy.
Pretty sure it's
Uh,
everyone. Yeah.
so, that's beautiful to see young kids having this everyday training and every day in the same facility as the first team or in a facility near it. Um, my one caveat to it is I feel too many guys sign pro 15, 16, 17 years old,
Right.
um, without going to college when I think college is needed for some people. It was definitely needed for me, and you've seen how my career has panned out. I think if I
Sure.
would have signed at 16, 17, I would have never made it
Right.
past a year, 2 years. And I've seen so many of those kids during my time that have signed because that opportunity was there, not gone to school, not gained their, experience playing, confident, becoming a man or a lady. Um, you know, you have to go and you have to be on your own. You have to grow and you have to understand. You have to figure out your class schedule, training. What are you going to eat? Do your own clothes, do your own laundry, have your
Yeah.
own schedule. When you're here, part of this environment, it's like every day or every week it's broken down in your exact, itinerary and your flights and everything's set up. And
True.
these kids have kind of, I've seen the developmental side for them off the field, I think has really hurt them. And you can't play the game if you're not confident. A lot of these kids feel once they sign like they should be playing and getting minutes, but there's a long progression towards, getting to the first team. And you're dealing with grown men, in their 30s, right? Like myself,
Right.
fighting for a family. So we're not gonna just, hand the keys over.
Yeah.
That's where it's kind of a balance. And I think every case is, different. But sometimes I feel like kids, decide to sign, and eventually it hurts them and it hurts their growth.
Absolutely. No, you bring up a really good point there. And like, I think that people like are quick to point out the benefits of the new systems we have. Like, and as they should, like, definitely see a lot of young players coming out. But yeah, the stuff you're talking about involving like college, becoming like, a man or woman and just like, having to do stuff yourself. It's a really good point, I think, in modern day with these young contracts. So very cool to keep in mind. And then I guess sort of just like transitioning to the nitty-gritty of your specific time with MLS. I'm wondering, and I asked this to a lot of people who like have had like long MLS careers that we interview in here and stuff like that. Did you ever have like a welcome to the league moment when you first joined where it was just like, oh my God, I'm really here? Like, was it like whether it's like getting megged in one of your first games or just like some like memory like that
Oh
sort of
yeah,
made
I
you
got one.
realize?
I got one that stands out, and it's against ourselves,
Okay,
um, and it's against Hamison Alave, who is the head coach
right.
for the Monarchs. So and he's with us a lot with the first team, helping out. So I always tell him, and we always laugh. CONCACAF Champions League, Columbus Crew's playing Real Salt Lake.
Hmm.
Games before the season, so it's mid-February. We're in Columbus. You know, that's where I make my first professional debut.
Hmm.
Sub in is 0-0. I sub in the 80th, the 81st minute. It's freezing. They put me as the striker, and I'm just jogging across the field. The ball gets switched over to the left side. I'm just jogging across, and Alave is if anybody's listening or doesn't know who he is, he's the biggest center back I've ever played against, the
Yeah.
strongest player ever. And he just out of nowhere, off the ball, just forearm checks me to my neck.
Oh my God.
And absolutely, I was seeing stars, and I said,
Wow.
holy, I'm here. This is no joke anymore. And he really ended my striker career because I never played forward again, I don't think, in MLS. So I had to work my way to left wing. But that moment sticks out for me. It really woke me up and realized like, damn, I need to get myself in the gym and start working out.
Oh my God. No, that's so funny to hear. Like, and especially like, hearing that it was from Olave too. That guy is huge. That guy is just straight up huge. So like,
Yeah,
I must have had like a football tackle, honestly. That's very
no, it
funny to
was for
hear.
sure.
And then, I'm speaking, we just brought up Olave, so I guess I'll like transition to this. I'm wondering just throughout your time in MLS, very generic question, but like, who are some underrated players that you played with throughout your time, just like at any club or anything, like, people you feel like who don't get the respect they should necessarily.
Underrated. Um, I think two guys that are very close friends of mine, Josh Williams, Steve Clark, two
Okay,
guys in
nice.
the league, 13, 14 years. Josh as a center back, so calm, so collective, he makes the best passes, so smart on the ball, and, very decisive. With Steve, smaller goalie, so I think he gets overlooked, but makes incredible
Right.
saves. Great with his feet. Those two really stand out for me that are currently playing. Um, I think Nagby, obviously, my time with him in
Oh, love
Atlanta.
him. Yeah, yeah.
Everyone loves him, amazing guy, but I don't think, I think he gets the love in some sense with the MLS side, but um, I think if he wanted to go and play in Europe and really had the desire, like people would really see how magical he is, and he never really loses the ball. Um,
Right.
um, those three. Trying to think of other guys that I've played with. I don't know. There's
I
been
mean,
a lot
yeah,
of people I've played with. I've been
for
around
sure.
a
No, I
lot.
understand. It's been a long time in the league, so I totally get that. But yeah, no, those three are, very cool as well. Especially Nagby, like I think he was the first MLS player like I ever like got a picture with in real life, so, when I was like younger. So definitely remember him very well. So it's very cool to
Right,
hear that
yeah.
you rate him as well. But yeah, we talked about players that you think are underrated. Now I'm wondering, I guess in the time that you came into MLS, I feel like that was like the beginning of when like stars were like starting to come here at the end of their career somewhat. What was there like any moment where you were just like starstruck by someone you saw on the pitch, or like you were just like very excited to see someone?
Yeah, 2011 played against Beckham in
Right.
World
Awesome.
Cup. That was like a holy shit.
Yeah,
Uh
I can imagine.
Tried to ask for his jersey. He said he had to give it to somebody else, so
Oh
that
man.
broke my heart. Um I think just playing against so many of these legends, Henri,
Right, it's a big one.
I megged Henri in Red Bull.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. I think he tackled me after.
Oh,
Uh, Pirlo, Drogba,
yep.
uh, um, David Villa was like, it was so impressive to see at his age how hard he worked and
Right.
how hard he, played on the field. I had a nice altercation with with Lampard in New York
Mm.
City, talking crap to one another. So a lot of these legends that like you watch and then you come here and you play and you realize like obviously they're much older, but we're
Right.
competing with them and we're competing and we're beating these teams and um so it's just great to see. Obviously Gareth Bale kind of
Yeah,
came here and um had a wonder goal against us, which
absolutely. Yeah.
uh, just crazy to see them live and to play against them. But when you're on the field, you don't really give a damn who they are. But
Right.
when you finish one day, I'll finish my career, I'll look back and say, I got to play against some, world class players.
Right. Yeah, it's awesome. And then yeah, I think your story about like Lampard is really funny about how you sort of just like, got into it with him. And that sort of reminds me like, are there any people, whether it's on RSL or whether it's like throughout the league, that you just like are notoriously known for just like the shit talking they'll do on the pitch? Like anyone that just like comes to mind, like, yeah, they're gonna say something at me for sure.
Felipe Martins, I
Oh,
think
really?
too much. He needs to shut his mouth. He he's always diving and talking, and you know
Oh my God.
I can't have none of that.
No, I got you. What
He's
about
one.
yourself? Are you like a big talker on the pitch also, or are you just more
No,
of a
no, I don't
player
really
game?
talk
Yeah,
much.
that's
To be
fair.
honest, no, I don't really talk much. Just no point for
Right.
me. I get on with my business, but I don't try and dive and waste time. I have respect for the game. Yeah, it might happen here or there, but
Right, right.
he's the worst. That dude's a clown. Um,
Oh my God, that's funny to hear.
Anybody else really? Someone I respect and like Dax McCarthy. I think
Oh yeah,
he's very like sneaky with the ref. He's always like in the ref's ear. But he's just smart about it. I love that guy, but he's
subtle.
always has his way kind of like in the ref's ear and chirping and talking smack and
Right.
but I respect him as a player and his career. So, you know, kind of tip your hat off. It's a technique and a skill and
Yeah.
he's been the captains for his team, so he's done it well.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that's very cool to hear. It's very cool to hear your perspective on like all these players, whether it be legends or people who are underrated or people who maybe dive a little too much. No offense, but anyway, talking
Yeah.
about him. But I guess like sort of just like going from like more players, more team based stuff like that. Obviously, like like I did mention, I am a big Atlanta United fan, so I did want to like, sort of like lock in on that and your time there for a little bit to sort of talk about your experience. Um, Firstly, in terms of just like playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and the crowd there, is it controversial to say that it's the best crowd in MLS? What was your like take on the time there? Did you really enjoy that crowd, or what do you think?
Dude, I could talk to you for weeks about my time in Atlanta. There's just so many unbelievable moments.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of revived my career. So Atlanta for me has a special place in my heart that like it's like like I can never, I don't know how to put it. I can never like uh give back like what they gave me. You know what I mean? I can never
Mm,
like reciprocate everything they did for me. It's too much. They gave me a chance. They took me in mid-season. I really embraced them and they embraced me, and we won a couple titles, trophies,
yeah.
and it was just special. Look, when you're lining up and walking out of that tunnel and you see 72,000 uh
Mm-hmm.
you know MBS, it's kind of hard to beat it. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie, it's kind of hard to beat it. You walk in from the locker room and you have all the fans at the Delta Club, and
Yep.
you know just seeing their passion, and you're walking out and you look up and you just see a stadium full, and you can't beat it. Like for me, obviously I love RSL and I'm here now when the fans are
Right.
amazing.
Absolutely.
It's nothing against them. It's just 72,000 on a Saturday night is damn special. So
No, 100% agree. Yeah, I still remember my first time watching a game. So, it definitely is cool to hear that, you were sort of just like, had that same reaction that I did as well. And then I guess it's like talking about like more about there. I guess like, in terms of MLS, the thing that's really big in the news right now is Joseph Martinez obviously going to Inter Miami in a move that, probably a couple years ago, none of us would have thought would have happened, but it is what it is at this point. I'm wondering if you had like if you were close with him at all when you were on the team. Did you have any like because I guess the thing with Joseph is that you hear a lot of stories like like I think the most recent thing was that like they leaked some stuff about him like flipping a table in the locker room and stuff like that. He can get like really emotional. He's into the game. I know that. So any cool experiences with him? Like what was it like working with him?
like, that's Joseph.
Yeah.
He's very passionate and wants to win and wants to succeed, and he did all that.
Right.
There's some moments I probably don't want to share,
Yeah, I understand.
but the Spanish guys would always get together for barbecues, and I would
Right.
always get invited, which was great. I interacted with a lot of them. I still speak with them. Obviously when we
Awesome.
played in Atlanta last year and saw Joseph, and chatted with him a little bit, and
Yeah.
uh, someone I respect, and listen, all good things sometimes or do come to an end, and I think it's best for Joseph to go to Inter Miami and have a
Sure.
new change of scenery, and I think it's the best for both parties. I think it was starting to get kind of that stale
Yeah.
time, and I just wish he got to I think he didn't get to start his last game at Mercedes Benz, but I'm not sure if he went in.
Um.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
just
remember.
obviously he's a great player, and it is what it is, I guess. Right now,
Yeah.
they made the decision, so
Absolutely. No, yeah, I totally understand you. And then I guess I sort of just wanted to go more in detail on like that in general. And we don't have to go too specific on this if this will like, get you in trouble for answering or anything. But I know that as amongst Atlanta United fans at least, there's a lot of controversy about like, oh, like ever since 2018, they've been like getting rid of players too early, like maybe some like, disagreements with fans in the front office, stuff of that nature with how Joseph was dealt. I remember when you left Atlanta United, my dad and I were in the living room and we both heard about the news and we were just like, I don't understand why we would like sell someone like this like so early. And I guess like, we kind of have the same feeling with Joseph leaving. Like maybe like I thought he would end his career here. So in terms of just like the front office and how they manage it, did you sort of like did you anticipate leaving? Was it like a surprise to you? Like did you feel that
yeah,
was
big surprise actually.
right?
Which kind of like pissed me off, but also like
Yeah,
broke my heart a little bit, because I
I
really wanted to
understand.
be there, and I had an option on my deal. It was a high option number, so I understood that they declined it. But I was playing very well, and
Right.
I was playing a new position, and I was dominating that position for them, playing left wing back, and scored a few goals that year, and we
Yep.
won Campeones Cup, the Open Cup, which I had a big part of. With Brandon Vasquez, it was kind of his kind of big moment where he kind of came out and was scoring some goals.
Right.
Um, so option was declined, but they said they were doing everything in their power to bring me back. And they never offered anything or spoke with my agent, and it was just
Yeah.
all
It's
fairy dust in the air, and didn't really it was all BS from what they were telling the media, that they were trying to do everything to bring me back. But that was upsetting. But God has His ways and
Absolutely.
plan, and RSL came in, and I'm blessed to be at this club that has kept me here. I'm going to my fourth season, so my family, both my kids were born in Utah, so
Awesome.
uh, this place is special to me now in so many other ways.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad to hear that you're able to, keep up that momentum and really just like, still be able to like, perform at the high level that you do, even after that like Atlanta stuff happened. So that's very cool to hear from my perspective. But as an Atlanta fan, like it sucks to say, but like it does not surprise me, like from your end, like the stuff that you're saying about like the lack of communication and things of that nature. That's just, something that like Atlanta United Twitter is complaining about every day and it's on my feed. So just thought I'd
Yeah.
ask about that too. And then yeah, I guess it's like to close out in terms of MLS. I guess like one of my favorite memories of your career, or I guess in the Atlanta United's history, to be honest, is I think it was against Montreal. Was it like that banger outside the box that you scored? I think for
Yeah.
Atlanta. That's like my favorite goal. I've probably like one of my favorite like goals I've seen in Atlanta United personally. I'm wondering just in your career, whether it's college, professional, maybe even you can throw back to like the amateur days or whatnot. Do you have a favorite goal that you've ever scored?
Mm. The Atlanta United goal was my first start in Mercedes Benz. That one's up there. Nine
Right,
seconds in the playoffs with Columbus Crew.
right.
93rd minute in Seattle with Columbus. I subbed in the 90th minute. 3 minutes later, it was 1-1. Higuain, short corner, played me top of the box, hit a curler. Similar to the
Wow,
Atlanta goal, just a little bit closer. Um, those three for me give me goosebumps every time I think about it.
awesome.
Um, and then obviously the goal against Akron with U of M in College Cup semifinals, a minute into the game. So those four, like, I'll always remember exactly how they happened and time really that it happened in the game. So those four really stand out to me um, personally. Yeah. And
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
think probably
Oh,
the
sorry, go ahead.
hat trick against Montreal with Columbus,
Okay.
kind of first ever hat trick in MLS, was pretty
Right.
cool. Um,
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
All very cool to hear about. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, yeah, I guess, very cool to hear about your time in MLS. We talked about that. We talked about college. I do want to talk a little bit about your time with Iraq before we go on to the back four quiz and close this out because I don't want to keep you for too long. But I did, I know that there was like a little bit of a while where it's like you weren't necessarily like on the best of terms or weren't necessarily playing that often for the Iraq team because of like some extraneous circumstances and things of that nature with the clubs and whatever. I did see that you've been like recently like active to some extent again with them. I'm just wondering like what's that transition been like? Like, are you enjoying your time with the team and like what's sort of your like state of mind in terms of just like being a part of that right now?
yeah. Obviously, I was part of the Iraq national team for 8 years.
Right.
And then there was a little moment with the coach. I decided to stay with Atlanta for the last regular season game, going into or for the playoff game instead of joining the team. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of started the whole controversy, which
Right.
was a difficult decision. I think I might have made the wrong decision now looking back. But I was trying to do everything for Atlanta and be there for Atlanta because I wanted to stay in Atlanta. And clearly I didn't stay with Atlanta, and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
burned the bridge with the coach, because he felt, you know, playing for your country is the highest honor, which it is. But
Mm-hmm.
and obviously playoff game was important, that I was there and not traveling from the Middle East and back. So that was difficult. And then I didn't really play for like a year and a half. And then the new coaches came, and I played a few games in November and March of last year. And then that was kind of it. So, I retired from the national team, and they kind of brought me back, and I'm good on this side of it. Being 34, I
Right.
got my kids and my wife, so
Absolutely.
it's not easy. Nobody realizes to travel 24 hours to play a game and then travel back.
Sure.
So, I'm just focused on prolonging my career in MLS, and my time with Iraq was a blessing, and a lot of great memories, a lot of crazy moments, a lot
Yeah.
of amazing countries that I got to visit and see cultures and learn about religion.
Yeah.
and just really meet amazing people. So for me, I'm very blessed and very honored to represent my country, 30 sometimes in my career.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool to hear. And then, we are running out of time, so I'll move on to the back four quiz shortly. But if you do want to hear more about Justin's time with The Rock, some really cool stories on the Sam's Army podcast, which I keep mentioning, but highly recommend. It's a really great listen. But actually, I guess before I move on, my dad would definitely want me to ask this because, like, so I'm Indian. The reason I love soccer so much is because my dad supported a local team in the eastern like part of India called East Bengal. So that's sort of like where the passion started. I don't think you have, but in your time with Iraq, like in the AFC or like qualifying or anything, did you ever play against India or anything or no?
No,
No, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I always wanted to go to India, but never have had the chance to.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. No worries. Sounds good. But yeah, with that being said, we've talked about how you got into the game, your origin story, your college life, going to the best school in the world and going to MLS from there. And quite an awesome journey, very unique journey. And even your time with the national team is, really cool to cover all this. But with that being said, every episode we close out with something we call the back four quiz. So this is essentially just like four trivia questions that relate to like, either teams you've played with or your career. And we just like to see how many of our guests can sort of get some of these right at the end of every episode. So
All right,
if you
here
don't
we
have any
go.
questions, yeah, we can get started. Absolutely. So I'll start off with one that I think is a little bit easier than the others. What number draft pick were you in the 2011 MLS Super Draft?
Oh yeah, 15th, easy.
15. There we go. Off to a good
I know,
start.
I
Get the
know,
momentum
I know
going.
all about it. Traded San Jose at the pick. Traded
Okay.
Columbus for Steven Lenhart.
Yep.
Shea
Yep.
for the 15th pick for me.
Awesome. Yeah, this guy knows all the details. Okay. All right. Very impressive. Okay. Cool. One for four. Let's see if you can keep the success up. We'll go with we'll go with a Michigan question here. Can you name three famous Michigan alumni who are not athletes?
Uh, is Adam Schefter one?
Yes, yes, he's one. That's a good one.
Uh, Stephen Ross.
Yep, yep. There we go.
That's two.
Yep.
One. Wow, this is a tough question
It's an interesting one. There's a couple I think you know. I think you'll get it if you think about it.
because they're not athletes.
Right.
I,
There's
I
one singer whose name sounds very familiar to a famous soccer player.
yeah, I'm terrible with musical. That's the problem. Um, it's got to be actors. Come on, right now. Oh man, who went to Michigan? I don't know. I don't know. I can't think right now.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, well, you did get two, which is a pretty solid. But I was trying to hint you towards Madonna. Kind of sounds like Maradona, singer. She
Really?
went to Michigan. Yeah, allegedly she did go to Michigan
Oh
for a bit.
shit!
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there's some others like
Like,
James Earl Jones, stuff like that. Iggy Pop. Yeah, there's a
okay.
cool little list. Anyway, okay, 2 for 3 on that one. Honestly, very respectable. That one was a little bit tough, so we'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. Well done. Two more questions left. Let's see. We'll do. Let's do an Atlanta United one. This one we can sort of give you like a margin of error of like three or so. But do you remember how many total appearances you had with Atlanta United, or how many would you guess?
All right. I'm gonna go with. I came there. I think end of April. Well, with 21.
Oh, almost on the money. Yeah, the answer is 20. Perfect. Right within the margin of error. There we go. All right. So we have 3 out of 4 questions done. On to the last one. We'll see if you can close it out on a high note. But this is another Michigan question, not necessarily related to the university, but do you know which U.S. president was from Michigan? I'll give you a hint. U of M's School of Public Policy is named after him.
This is too many years back.
It is a big throwback.
Oh my God.
He has the same name as a car company.
Gerald T. Ford?
Yes, sir. Yeah, he went to University of Michigan and Ford School of Public Policy.
All right. Thanks for
Awesome.
that hint. I needed that.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, with that being said, we talked about your whole career. We've done the back four quiz. This was a really good time. I really enjoyed recording with you. I feel like we got a lot of cool stories about your experience and some stuff our viewers really enjoy. I guess before we fully end this and I let you go, I know that you're from Michigan. You spent some time in Ann Arbor, spent some time down in Atlanta as well. I'm from both those places. You have any like food recommendations or anything like that in both these places I can go to? Maybe some Middle Eastern food if you'd know.
Oh, for Atlanta, you gotta go to um it's a Persian place.
Mm.
It's the best food. My family, my in-laws, everybody, they all rave when I
Oh,
would take
really?
them there. Um, Now I gotta look it up.
No worries. No, we can get back about that later.
It's like the best.
It wasn't Sufi's, was it? Sufi's Kitchen? Or
Why is
Rumi's,
that
maybe? I've been to those.
Roomies?
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So I went to Rumi's for the first time with my parents actually over like break last like a few weeks ago. It's so good.
Roomies is incredible. When we played Atlanta, this past year, I told my teammates, I said, I'm going to Roomies. With, so we went, and
That's awesome.
it's the best. Like, and you
Very
eat
good
so
food.
much, and you can't stop eating, and then you're like miserable after because you're so full.
Absolutely, man. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That's funny. But yeah, with that being said, if any of you guys listening ever end up in Atlanta, go to Roomies. I'll probably go when I visit back too. But anyway, Justin, it's been a pleasure talking. I really appreciate you making the time and thanks for, going so in depth and providing a really good experience. I really enjoyed talking.
Got it. Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Appreciate it.